Alright, hello everybody again. Today we're going to be doing Half-Orc. And because I did that out of order, this is a read-along version of the D&D Player's Handbook for 5e. Look like this. Yay! Now, we're doing Half-Orc today. A fairly short video on this one again. Yay. Easier to deal with. This starts on page 40. Half-Orc. The war chief Murin roused himself from his sleeping furs and his women and pulled a short hauberk of heavy steel rings over his thick, well-muscled torso. He usually rose before most of his warriors, since he had a strong streak of human blood in him, and he found the daylight less bothersome than most of his tribe did. Among the bloody skulls, a warrior was judged by his strength, his fierceness, and his wits. Human ancestry was no blemish against a warrior, provided he was every bit as strong, enduring, and bloodthirsty as his full-blooded king. Half-orcs, who were weaker than their orc comrades, didn't last long among the bloody skulls, or any orc tribe for that matter. But it was often true that a bit of human blood gave a warrior just the right mix of cunning, ambition, and self-discipline to go far indeed, as Murin had. He was master of a tribe that could muster 2,000 spears, and the strongest chief in Tsar. Richard Baker, Sword Mage. Whether united under the leadership of a mighty warlock, or having fought to a standstill after many years of conflict, orc and human tribes sometimes form alliances, joining forces into a larger horde to the terror of civilized lands nearby. When these alliances are sealed by marriages, half-orcs are born. Some half-orc rise to become proud chief of orc tribes, their human blood giving them an edge over their full-blooded orc rivals. Some venture into the world to prove their worth among humans or other more civilized races. Many of these become adventurers, achieving greatness for their mighty deeds and notoriety for their barbaric customs and savage fury. Scarred and strong. Oof, hair, stop doing that. Half-orcs' grayish pigmentation, sloping foreheads, jutting jaws, prominent teeth, and towering builds make their own orcish heritage plain for all to see. Half-orcs stand between 5 and 7 feet tall and usually weigh between 180 and 250 pounds. Orcs regard battle scars as tokens of pride and ornamental scars as a thing of beauty. Other scars, though, mark an orc or half-orc as a farmer's slave or disgraced exile. Any half-orc who has lived among or near orc has scars, whether they are mark of humiliation or of pride, recounting their past exploits and injuries. Such a half-orc lived among humans might display these scars proudly, or hide them in shame. The mark of the Grumish. The one-eyed god Grumish created the orcs, and even those orcs who turn away from his worship can't fully escape his influence. The same is true of half-orcs, though their human blood moderates the impact of orcish heritage. Some half-orcs hear the whispers of Grumish in their dreams, calling them to unleash the rage that simmers within them. Others feel Grumish exultation when they join in melee combat, and either exult with him or shiver in fear and loathing. Half-orcs are not evil by nature, but evil does lurk within them, whether they embrace it or rebel against it. Beyond the rage of Grumish, half-orcs feel emotion powerfully. Rage doesn't just quicken their pulse, it makes their bodies burn. An insult stings like acid, and sadness saps their strength. But they laugh loudly and heartily, and simple bodily pleasures, feasting, drinking, wrestling, drumming, and wild dancing, fill their hearts with joy. They tend to be short-tempered and sometimes sullen, more inclined to action than contemplation, and to fighting than arguing. The most accomplished half-orcs are those with enough self-control to get by in a civilized land. Tribes and slums. Half-orcs most often live among orcs. Of the other races, humans are the most likely to accept half-orcs, and half-orcs almost always live in human lands when not living among orc tribes. Whether proving themselves among rough barbarian tribes or scrabbling to survive in slums of larger cities, half-orcs get by on their physical might, their endurance, and sheer determination they inherit from their human ancestry. Half-orc names. Let's see how bad I butcher this, guys. Half-orcs usually have names appropriate to the culture in which they were raised. A half-orc who wants to fit in among humans might trade an orc name for a human name. Some half-orcs with human names decide to adopt a guttural orc name because they think it makes them more intimidating. Male orc names. Dench, Feng, Gel, Henk, Holg, Imish, Kith, Krush, Mürgen, Ront, Schump, Thok. Female orc names. Bagi, Emmen, Ingog, Kansif, Mev, Niga, Ovak, Onka, Shauska, Shutha, Vola, Volin, Yevelda. I really like Yevelda. I'm not gonna lie, that one's pretty good. Half-orc traits. Your half-orc character has certain traits deriving from your orc ancestry. Ability score increase. Your strength score increases by 2. And your constitution score increases by 1. Age. Half-orcs mature a little faster than humans, reaching adulthood around age 14. They age noticeably faster and rarely live longer than 75. Alignment. Half-orcs inherit a tendency toward chaos from their orc parents, and are not strongly inclined towards good. Half-orcs raised among orcs, and willing to live out their lives among them, are usually evil. Size. Half-orcs are somewhat larger and bulkier than humans. They range from 5 to well over 6 feet tall. Your size is medium. It's really funny because in the reading it said 7, but it just said well over 6. 12 is well over 6. Doesn't that still count? Speed! Your base walking speed is 30. Dark vision. Thanks to your orc blood, you have superior vision in dark and dim conditions. You can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. You can't discern color in darkness, only shades of gray. Menacing. You gain proficiency in the intimidation skill. Relentless endurance. When you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So dead, but not really. Savage attacks. When you score a critical hit with a melee weapon attack, you can roll one of the weapon's damage dice one additional time and add it to the extra damage of the critical hit. Sorry. It gets me mad aggro. Languages. You can speak, read, and write Common and Orc. Orc is a harsh, grating language with hard consonant. It has no script of its own, but it is written in the Dwarvish script. Now, up at the top of page 41, we have grudging acceptance. Also, these at first to me look like little cat skulls, and I was kind of confused, not gonna lie. Each half-orc finds a way to gain acceptance from those who hate orcs. Some are reserved, trying not to draw attention to themselves. A few demonstrate piety and good-heartedness as publicly as they can, whether or not such demonstrations are genuine. And some simply try to be so tough that others just avoid them. So that is our half-orc. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope all of you, like me, that have learning disabilities, reading disabilities, this helps out. If it does, I would love you to like and follow as I continue to read this player's handbook for us together. Also, I do apologize for the long periods that I take in between videos. Life is hard. I hope everyone is well, and have a great D&D session.